Howdy, gents. Welcome back to another episode of Truck Talk Thursday here on the Wolf and Iron podcast and here in my truck. As I'm heading to coffee, as I normally do in the morning, thought I'd share some thoughts with you guys. And, you know, it's amazing. Sometimes I'll have an idea. I'm thinking, okay, I should put something on the podcast about that, or I should, that'd actually make a really good book topic. I'll tell you, if I could write all the books that I want to write, I would have a lot of books. And it's just, this is the topic that I want to discuss today. You probably saw it in the title here, Silver Bullet Society. I think it makes an awesome band name. It would make a great book title. It may already be a thing, I don't know. But I had the idea, and I kid you not, I had this idea about 2 or 3 days ago. And I started seeing things about Silver Bullet here and there, and I'm like, what is going on? You see these, I'm sure this happens to you guys as well. You have an idea, you have a thought, and what seems like coincidence, it just, things start, kind of showing up. Maybe signs, if you kind of believe in those kinds of things. And so I thought, okay, I gotta jump on this thing. And so I usually have a list of things that I'm going to talk about, and it's just kind of a random list of Truck Talk Thursday topics. But this one's hot, so I'm gonna jump on it. And some of this kind of fits into the whole shooting thing that's happened. So as I record this, the shooting happened about a week ago. The shootings in El Paso and in Ohio. And, so not because of the bullet phrase, but just because we're always looking for one thing. So before I dig into what this podcast episode is all about, I just want to welcome anybody who's new to the Wolf and Iron podcast. You may be going, okay, what is this thing? This is not a typical podcast. This guy's just start talking. He's in his vehicle. That is correct. I am in my truck, and I just like to share some thoughts with you guys. Kind of just ad lib, off the cuff type of stuff, stream of consciousness kind of thing. And you guys get to hear the sounds, such as passing vehicles that are more manly than mine. This whole thing about Silver Bullet Society, what does that mean? Well, I find that we keep, thank you, sir. A nice bearded gentleman's let me pass. We continue to, as a society, look for the one fix. And you guys see this in weight loss, you see this in exercise, we see this in education, we see this in, kind of getting ahead. We're looking for the one thing. And honestly, the one fix is not a bad approach in most cases. When I guess it started for me back when I was coming out of boot camp. I was in the Navy. So I came out of boot camp, went into A school. That's where you basically get trained up to do whatever the job is that they want you to do. And I was going to be an aviation electrician's mate. Had never done anything with electronics in my life. I didn't even know how to think about like troubleshooting and those kinds of solutions, like if this, then that kind of logic. Now, I was a tinkerer. I loved to make things all my life. I've done that. But it was always just sort of like, okay, what's next, or how will this work? And not necessarily thinking through the process. And I was what, like 18, 19 years old at this point. And anyhow, some of the things that they taught me there, and that became things that I would find later on in my career as a software developer, was that there's typically one problem. When something goes wrong, there's typically one thing. It's usually not 2 or 3 things that line up to cause some kind of issue. And so, as an example, they would give us a circuit board as maybe like a test or something like that, and there would be lights on the circuit board, and a certain light would be out. And you'd kind of flip some switches, and the light might come on sometimes, but then go off other times, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? When I do this combination of things, it lights up, and I do this other combination, and you'd have to trace the path, on the circuit board to kind of figure out, okay, if this is causing the problem, then maybe this is what, and basically solve it. And there was typically one thing. That whole phrase, keep it simple, stupid, right? That's where this sort of comes from, is this, don't overthink things, don't overcomplicate it, right? You're looking for the one issue. And it seems to me that our minds are wired up like that. This is how we want to approach life, actually. We want to find the one problem, and therefore the one fix. The issue is that, men, we are in a time and an age, a society in which we don't just have one problem to fix. There is not one silver bullet that's going to take care of everything. There's probably not one silver bullet that's going to help you lose weight. that's going to help you increase your testosterone. There's not one silver bullet that's going to, well, I mean, there could be a silver bullet for this, but, that's going to prevent kids from shooting other kids, right? There's not a silver bullet that's going to solve the issue of fatherhood and fatherlessness in our society, or godlessness in our society. There's not a silver bullet that's going to solve the problem of media addiction in our society. You might be dealing with this with your kids. Just like, oh my gosh, like how much TV are you going to watch? How much of the day are you actually going to spend in front of your screen? But yet we keep looking for the one thing. And we see this all the time. People are always trying to sell us the new one thing, the new one trick, the thing that is going to change it all for you. And you got to put that away. You got to don't be that guy. Here's what's happened in society. And the same thing that would happen with the circuit board, the same thing would happen with a clogged toilet, the same thing that would happen with a clogged artery. You may have started with one issue. Let's say take prayer out of schools, or general just a devaluing of God, and kind of a disassociation with society and God. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the one thing. But eventually you're dealing with the consequences of that. And so, for example, our circuit board in the Navy for testing was set up so that the light bulb would just not come on. And that was pretty much it. It didn't go anywhere else. It didn't affect anything else. It was self-contained. But life isn't like that. Your kids clog up the toilet. We've had this happen. Or the kids clog up the bathtub, and yet the water is still running. You may have one issue. You got that something's clogged there. But eventually you're dealing with the fallout of an overflowing toilet. Now the water's coming from upstairs into downstairs. You've got water mitigation issues. You've got to replace the ceiling downstairs. All right, you still got the thing in the toilet that you got to get out. And so, all right, I mean, there's all kinds of issues that you're going to have to kind of mitigate and deal with that are as a result of some issue in society that set us on this path. And so now you and I are dealing with things like the fact that we have to choose what kind of food we're going to eat that's going to make us healthy. We don't just eat food out of the garden or what our neighbors have raised or what we hunt and killed. We have to choose what kind of food is going to be healthy, because there are plenty of options out there that are not healthy. So we got to read the back of boxes, and we got to go to certain stores that have the things that we want, and we got to make choices. Sometimes the things don't, to us, taste as good. As the healthy stuff doesn't taste as good. We got to make choices to go exercise. We got to make choices to turn the TV off, go outside, go for a walk, those kinds of things, right? And we all know this. We all kind of understand we're living in this society. But that's where we are. So instead of trying to find the silver bullet solution, instead of trying to find the one thing, you need to become accustomed with the idea that whatever you're trying to solve is likely going to be a series of steps to kind of undo issues, undo problems, mitigate the fallout. And it's going to be a much more lengthy process than most of the things try to tell us is going to be in today's society. Everybody wants the 24-hour thing, the 6-week turnaround, the 4 weeks to sexy abs, whatever the case is. That's not going to be the case. Let's take testosterone as an issue. This has been a big problem for me. And I'm finally starting to crack to the other side. When I was in my 20s, probably about 26, 28 years old, I realized that I had low testosterone. Everything was pointing to low testosterone. And I was going, I'm 28 years old. This doesn't make sense. I can't have low testosterone. But it was in the absolute tank, guys. And over the last 12 plus, I'm 41 now. So without doing math, over the last many, many years of dealing with this, I've been on and off of testosterone replacement. I finally have gotten to the place where I have higher testosterone levels in the 600s now, versus the 200s that they were in, in my 20s. So I'm doing much better with that. But it's not been one thing. It's not been like, oh, you just need to eat more greens, or oh, you just need to lose a little bit more weight, or oh, you just need I've gone off of dairy, I've gone off of gluten, I've done, less caffeine intake, I've done, you name it, right? It's been a series of steps to try and correct the fact that I wasn't living right, that I wasn't thinking right, and so on. And you're going to have the same thing with your kids. It's not going to be, well, I'll just take my kids out every once in a while and that'll solve all of our, our sons and father issues, our daddy-daughter issues. It's going to be a series of things. It's going to be a lot of things because there's a lot of things to undo. And there is probably not going to be a silver bullet solution for a lot of things in life. This is why it's so important to have a community of men that you can talk to, that got your back, that you're growing with, that understand you, know you over the years. I think that's so key, guys. You've got to have some men in your life. You've got to have your band of brothers. Because this is going to be, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, take your pick of issues that you want to solve. It's going to be an ongoing thing that's going to be probably multi-years. And you're going to make progress. You're going to make steps. You're going to make strides in the right direction. But there's not going to be a silver bullet. And don't fall for the people who say it is. Life is hard work, even though things are a good bit easier than they've ever been. We've got some unique challenges in our time. And, the man that's going to conquer these challenges is the one that says, I'm willing to punch a couple holes as necessary into this problem. I'm not looking for a silver bullet. Unless, of course, you're fighting a werewolf, then maybe that's what you need. Okay, well, that's a weird spot to end it on, but I'm here at the coffee shop now, and I'm going to go enjoy myself a cortado. So you guys enjoy your day. Have a great Thursday. Talk to you later.